Hey guys, I hope you are there. Good evening, everyone, or good evening, guys, in the chat. I hope you're good. Yeah, welcome to another a live session in my little studio.
Hey guys.
Tonight, I think I'm going to work with.
Good evening, everyone,
Oh,
or good evening, guys, in the chat. I hope you're good.
sorry, I have a little problem.
Yeah, welcome to
But
another
I can tell you tonight we are
live
going to
session in my
work
little studio.
with a
Tonight,
sequencer,
I think I'm going to
with
work
an audio
with
sequencer I bought
or good evening, guys, in the
a
chat.
couple of weeks ago.
I hope you're good. Sorry, I have a little problem.
I have a little audio problem, I'm sorry.
I can tell you tonight we are going to work with a sequencer, with an audio sequencer I bought a couple of weeks ago. Sorry, I have a little problem. I have a little audio problem, I'm sorry.
Where can I put this audio on? Oh, guys, I'm sorry, I have a little problem with my audio interface. And it seems I cannot fix it. That is horrible. So maybe that's better now. Yeah, it seems so. I think there was a problem with interfering. Hello everyone to a new edition of my little studio session. I think now I can start. Tonight I'm going to work on the track I started last week, or I started during the past weeks. Hey Ben, and that is like a little micro house track. And this time I'm going to sequence everything with a pyramid sequencer. I don't know if you know this guy. It's a hardware sequencer. It's this one here, and it basically sequences everything else. I posted a track last week that was sequenced the same way, but it was a little. I thought it was a little too much, and I wanted to go back to some basic roots, and I created something which I'm going to jam a little around with. And today I want to create a chain with a pyramid, because what makes it a little special to me is that the pyramid can sequence chains, or it has like it has an audio it has an audio it has a chain, like a song mode, which makes it very good to program songs like you're working in a DAW. And I'm gonna go quickly through the pattern that I created, so you get a rough idea what I'm talking about. So I'm gonna play some of the tracks separately, and what I do is I sequence the model samples. I have the Digitakt here, and I also play the digitone and the peak. The peak you don't hear. I think here you see the peak. It's very much in the bottom. But I will tell you what I do. So first is the kick. So the speed is around 112, I think, again. It's a pretty ordinary kick, and the kick is played by the Digitakt. Is it? Yeah, that's played by the Digitakt. Then I have a couple of bass lines that I layer together. So I wanted to create a minimal track, or a micro minimal track, that uses different layers of bass lines. And the first bass line is this one. Oh, sorry. I don't know my own track. I wanted to, this is something that creates a little groove that I come later on. The first bass element is actually this one. That is a sound created by the Digitone, and this is meant to be like a top bass sound that plays in the higher low frequency spectrum. Then we have this one, which is actually the real bass that you feel when you would hear this track in a club or something. You would feel this one, but I think you don't hear it right now. I see that there's no signal coming in. I think you don't hear it. I have little technical problems tonight, I think. That's strange. You cannot hear it, I guess. Okay, so now we have a serious problem that I think I can't fix. Do you hear anything? No, you cannot hear it, I know. But I can't tell you why you cannot hear it. That's real strange. Let me try something out. Let me quickly try something out. I tried to fix it, but I'm not sure if I can. So, main output goes there. No. I know what the problem is. Hey, Michael, you cannot hear it because my setup is a little strange. But I didn't think about that before. My setup is that I'm using the Digitakt as my audio interface, and I'm recording or I'm streaming with OBS. And you will hear everything that's created by the Digitakt, like the kick, but you only hear the kick, and the other synth, they are routed into in a mixer, and the mixer is routed into the inputs of the Digitakt. And everything that's coming into the inputs of the Digitakt, it seems that it doesn't go out to OBS. That's really strange. I think I have to check something here in my configuration. But I think that won't work. No. No, that won't work. I'm really sorry, guys. I wanted to show you something super cool. But maybe I will try something else. I will try to connect the output of the Digitakt to my audio interface. I can give strange sounds now. No, you cannot hear it, right? Why not? Ah, can you hear it now, by the way? Can you hear it now? You should hear it now. Michael, can you hear it? I think so. Yeah, that works. Cool. Is it loud enough? Great. Okay, so now you know how this bassline sounds. And I just routed my Digitakt into my audio, my normal interface, which I normally don't use. I only use it for those streaming sessions because Digitakt audio interface is so comfortable, so I don't use it anymore. Anyway, I'm quickly gonna make this a little louder because I think that it's not loud enough for you guys. So, okay. This is the top line I was talking about. It's played by the digitone. Then I have the bass, the bass that you can hear when you're going to dance, and that's something you feel. And then is another bass line that plays a little groove. Well, it's not a bass line, it's more like a synth playing. And then I have one more track. Hey, Thierry, good evening. You missed our technical problem, so welcome to the working show. And then I added a groove, which is nothing else than the kick sound that is just pitched up, shortened, and I took away some of the lower frequencies, so I get this groove something, and that sounds together like this. That is a nice foundation, and I have two tracks. They play like chords or steps. And I love those stabs actually, because I can play around with them by adding effects and stuff during the track time. But my idea is to have different sections of this track, and one of those sections will be that those steps are playing together with some more percussion sounds. And what I'm going to do, or what I did, I recorded some sounds for another project. And these are two sounds I made for this project. And those are sounds I took at the airport. Those are people running around. And I made a loop from that. And that gives this whole track, it takes away a lot of this technical structure, and it gives in some organic feeling. It sounds like this. And then there is another layer. No, you don't have to watch it again. And that gives like a little, or a very nice groove when you play that together, like. That is the first part of my track. The second part adds some very nice synth in there, like pads or something. And they start with this one. And then that sound is a little bit like a distorted tape or something. The pitch varies. Okay, so these are two elements I will use in a breakdown or something. Yes, Pyramid drives everything. So the Pyramid drives the Digitakt and the Digitone and the model samples and the peak actually. What I have to do is I have to program those knobs here so I can really tweak some of the most important parameters. So what I'm going to do is after I finished my sequence, I'm going to pick out some parameters that I want to tweak for creating some movements during the performance, because I'm going to make a sequence that is not like a song. I'm not going to, or I don't want to have like a hardware DAW, which it actually is a hardware DAW, but I'm going to create some sequences that I will switch manually so I can see how long I want to play each of the song sections. And the most important effects or the most important parameters I want to modulate using the knobs of the pyramid. But that will be the next step. I added another synth line actually that I want to use like a melody, but the melody is only 2 notes, so it sounds like this. Yeah, that is the second. That is another element that I'm going to introduce to the track. What else did I have? Oh yes, there's one track that plays like lo-fi stuff. That is this one. That is like a crackle or something. And I added 2 because I like percussion sounds, and I think I'm not there where I want to be with the percussions of this track. They play like little inserts or ghost snares. Yeah. They add some more stuff to the track. And I have one more track which I think I'm going to delete because I was really into something more melodic for this track. So I had one more slot, and this is something I hate when you have so much possibilities, so many possibilities, you always want to use everything. So I had one free pad on the model samples, and I really wanted to use it for something melodic. And it sounds like this. But I completely don't like it. So I think I'm gonna use this one for something more melodic, and I think I want to have like a little rim or a little wood playing or something. So I'm going to delete those notes. Yeah. Let me check. The length. Oh, I think I deleted something that I didn't want it. So okay, let's reload this project. Okay. Yeah, I don't like it. That has to go. Okay. Yeah, that is something I really don't like. Okay. Hey, Tom, that is cool. I was living in Augsburg actually. I was living in Augsburg for 6 years. It's like 10 years ago, but Augsburg is a very charming city. So welcome to my former home city, Augsburg. Augsburg is very cool. I was also in the Augsburger Puppenkiste. I don't know, guys, if you know it. Augsburger Puppenkiste is a super popular, how you call this, hand puppet theater. And I was in the backstage, and they showed me everything. That was super exciting. So if you ever come to Augsburg, you really have to see that. So welcome to Augsburg. Where did I stop? I wanted to add this sample here. Okay. Okay, this is like a very simple oscillator I loaded from the factory sounds. And I'm going to change it. You cannot see it because my camera setup is not the best today. I think I have a sample pack with woods on their packs. Organic. A clap I have. Head, kick. No, I don't. Percussion. Something like this. Let's try this one. Is a MIDI splitter in your dollar? No, I don't have a MIDI splitter. Because why do you think so? Why you think why do you ask me if I have a MIDI splitter? I was never thinking of a MIDI splitter actually. You think because I have so many gear chained up, the Pyramid has 2 MIDI outputs. So it has one MIDI output that I connected to the Digitakt and Digitone, and the second MIDI out goes to the other 2 synths that I'm using. So there's no delay or something, which is cool because it gives you like 32 MIDI channels that you can use for chaining up. So no, I don't have a MIDI. I don't have this MIDI splitter, but I heard a couple of guys ask me that before as well, but I never thought about that because this thing doesn't need me to have that. Okay, so I have now like a little blah 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 here, and I think you don't see that, but I have like a little a key step connected to the MIDI input of the Pyramid, so I can play everything I want with the Arturia. So let's program a little pattern for that. But I think I have to play the rhythm for it. maybe something more. 1 MIDI and multiple MIDI out. Yeah, exactly. There's one MIDI input that I'm using for the Arturia, for the controller, and it has multiple out. It has 2 MIDI DIN outs, and it has CV out. It has like a CV in, and it has a USB MIDI out and in as well. So you have multiple possibilities to connect your gear. I think it also can chain up modular stuff because it has this CV output, but I'm not into modular, so I cannot tell you anything about that. So this is something I like, but I want it to be more fast. So what I can do is, and this is really cool of the pyramid, while the Digitakt's resolution of a track is like you have 16 tricks and you play the 16 tricks. If you want to get them faster, you have to set retricks to fill gaps, or if you want to play like 64 notes, you cannot zoom in or you cannot zoom out. And what is cool about the pyramid is I can zoom in. Maybe I do a separate video where I explain some of the features if you're interested in that. But I can zoom into the track, and that means that I get now double of the tricks at the same speed or at the same time. And that means I can set now like super fast tricks. Oh no, something's wrong. Ah, there you hear it. And you can do that even you can go even further if you set the zoom to 16, for instance. So you have like, you're much more flexible with this sequencer for me, and I have to get used to that actually. But that was a little fast. I think I'm going for the 8th zoom. Yeah, that is something I like. I like when those percussions, when they support the instrument instruments, and this is what they do right now. They support the first bass line in a way, but I want to add some variations in the velocity. That must be super. And another nice feature is, and that is something I really use a lot as well, that is polyphonic patterns. So you can have a different time signature for each of the tracks, and that makes it super easy to get some more complex patterns. The Digitakt can do that too, but you're limited. I tried that a couple of times with my tracks and it works, but this pyramid is completely fully not polyphonic. Oh my god, I forgot the word. But each track has its own time signature that makes it super flexible actually. And I'm going to try something out. So let me add something. I added now a 4th bar to this track, but it's too long, I guess. Okay, let me do that one bar. Yeah, that is nice. Maybe it's too long for me. I think you know that I love short samples. Just tweaking the sound a little bit. Yeah, maybe an octave deeper. No, I'm not going to add effects to this track because I have a lot of effects going on the peak. So I keep the other tracks clear or dry. But I'm not happy with the sound. So let's browse. Maybe I can find something else. Yeah, this is cool. Okay, that is cool. But what I'm going to do is I will set up an LFO that modulates a little bit the filter cutoff that I just added to this track. Hey Dieter, nice seeing you in the chat. Hoffe, dir geht's gut. I hope so, because we will have like Friday bank holiday, so I'm feeling super good tonight. I spent some time in Zurich at the lake. This afternoon we had like 25 degrees, and that was super nice. So I hope you spent some time outside as well if you had sunny times. Yeah, what did I want to do? Yes, I want to use the LFO of the model samples to modulate the cutoff frequency of this percussion to add like a little movement. I could do that using the Pyramid 2. I have like one LFO per track which I can use to modulate all of those parameters. But I'm too lazy I'm too lazy to check that's polyrhythmic. That was the word I was searching for. You are right, Thierry. And I'm just too lazy to look up the CC parameter that I have to use for this LFO. So I'm going to use the onboard LFO, which doesn't have to play in sync with the track because I'm not interested in this for this one. So let's set up this LFO to the destination. Oh my god, this is such a small display. I have the filter frequency and the speed slow. Yeah. but it's too fast. I have to, there's LFO speed. LFO speed must be slow. Yeah. And what is cool about this pyramid, you feel that I'm pretty excited about this thing, is that you can add MIDI effects to each of the tracks. So let's say I'm going to add a delay on this track. And you can do that by adding a delay, a MIDI delay. I think I'm on the wrong track. Yeah. Yeah, I'm on the wrong track. Let's add a delay. And that is actually cool because, hey Mike, cool dich zu sehen. Which is cool about this, that you can add, or you can stack up like 5 different layers of MIDI effects. And this delay is produced by retriggering this. It's actually like you're having this retrig from the Digitakt, but much more flexible, because I can tell him how often I want it to repeat. Like I can tell him to repeat it like 32 times with a super fast speed, which I don't want for this case, but you can produce super nice effects with that. But for this one, I think, yeah, that is nice. Let's go for that. And I'm going to add another effect. And that is a humanizer that you can add to each of those tracks that gives some, it places the notes of the grid, let's say that. And that gives a little more organic feeling. This is what I'm really actually after with my tracks. I don't want them to sound like a machine track. I want them to sound like something, well, you obviously hear that it's like a machine track, but I want to give them something organic. And that is what I love about this quantizer or humanizer function, that gives some organic feeling to it. For this one, I think I'm going to use the swing feature actually, to let this sound shuffle a little bit. And last but not least, I'm going to add a random effect that randomizes the velocity just a little bit. Ah no, that is something I don't want. I think I added some velocity variations already to the track. Okay, let's see how that sounds all together. Yeah, I like it. But something changed to this one. Ah, yeah. And there's one. Can you retrick the retrick? Can I retrick the retrick? Ah, you mean? I think you cannot do that. I was thinking about that too. If I can trick the effects of the Digitakt, but until now I couldn't figure it out how that works. Something that I'm missing is that I cannot use sound logs. Like my previous tracks, there were like a lot of sounds playing in one track. Right now, I can only use one sound per pyramid track. So that is why I'm using now the model samples more than before, because I cannot use two sounds on one Digitakt track, which I did before a lot. And I think you cannot retrick retricks as well. I think that's not possible, but I have to figure it out. I use this actually on this track too. There is a little... And you hear those little retricks too. In this, on this one, and I always wanted to change the sound because I don't like it. Maybe I'm using an ordinary... I don't know what you mean, Thierry. Can you repeat your question if it was not clear? I will try to answer your question. Should I use an ordinary hi-hat, something I normally don't do? Yeah. Yes, Mike, it is. Yes, I'm pretty happy with this machine because I'm finally able to play the peak as I always wanted to be, because I tried this with the Digitakt and I connected the peak to the Digitakt because it has like 8 MIDI tracks as well, which I wanted to use for playing melodies. But the sequencer for the Digitakt is super limited for playing MIDI tracks, or you can play basic tracks with this sequencer, which is cool for smaller things or for easier tracks. But I thought for my purposes, this sequencer was too limited. Even it has all the features of, even it has a lot of features that are super powerful, like retricks and conditioner tricks and stuff. But now I can program sequences that are endless. Like there is no limitation from the Squarp. I can program sequences that are each track can have a separate length, a dedicated length, and you can create pattern variations from each of those of the tracks you created. So you're much more flexible. You have like, I think I will do a little separate video of the pyramid because I think people are super interested in that. You have like 4 different modes, and you have like a live mode. Let me go to this track. This is now the peak playing, and you have a live mode and you have a chord mode. But you also have an arpeggiator. You can put arpeggiators on that. You have harmonizers that you can put as effects on the tracks. You have tracks for automation. You have tracks for program changes. So that means if I reload a track in my pyramid, it automatically loads the programs on the other machines. So that is so that's done, and I can also play all of the effects with this thing. So yes, I'm pretty happy with that right now. But I have to tell you as well, what I loved about the Digitakt is, because it is limited, you start to get creative. That doesn't mean I'm not creative with this machine, but adding this pyramid to my setup feels like, or felt like, a new DAW, which I don't want. I always hated Ableton for the endless possibilities, because I got lost in tweaking and then another plugin, and let's try this plugin, and let's try another EQ on top, and there was like a never-ending production phase for me. And then I got those machines, the Digitakt for instance, and I got much more productive because you have a set of features that you can use and that's it. And then you start getting creative. And the pyramid adds now, again, a lot of possibilities, like adding new synth to the setup. It's easy. It makes it more complex, but you get much more possibilities. And again, I have to think about reducing what I'm doing, because I pretty easy get lost in all those possibilities. Like I said before, I had one free slot on the model samples, and I was really teased to add something. Even the track doesn't need it, but because I can, I do it, and that makes it much more. Or let's say I have to think about that twice what I do to not lose the focus of the track. But because I did this with the Digitakt a lot, it is now much easier than before. But producing with Ableton, yeah, that's a different story. Yeah, exactly. And this thing, I think they sell the pyramid like a hardware DAW as well. Because you can chain up stuff like songs, but what makes it really cool is that you can program a chain and perform the track like you want. So it doesn't run through the whole chain like a structure, or you can do that, but you can tell him like, repeat this until I tell you to go to the next sequence. Yeah, less is more. That's super important, I think. Even, especially when you start producing music, like people ask me, where should I start? But I think keep it simple. So this is already like, wow, this setup is huge for me. But yeah, okay, let's go ahead with this track, because I think I only have 10 minutes left. So tell me now, that's your decision, guys. Which hi-hat sounds better in this track? This one, or this one. I think you know my decision already. Yeah, the last one. Yeah, the second one is it. The peak has such a good reverb. Hey Jasper. That's a little too loud, I think. Yeah. Yes, I go for that one. Cool. So yeah, that was my little live for tonight, guys. I hope you liked it a little. Jasper, I think you're a little too late. I'm sorry for you. But you can go and repeat this show. We had some serious problems in the beginning. Yeah, thanks for watching. I hope this was a little helpful. Let me know in the comments of this show if you would like to see more of the pyramid, because I think you haven't seen everything, because the camera was, I wanted to show you everything what's happening here. If you're interested, I'm going to make another video with the front, with the up, I don't know the English word, where you see it better. So yeah, that's for tonight. Don't forget my release Friday. I have a release coming on Friday called Texture. That is a super cool release with tracks I created with the Digitakt mostly. And I hope you have a nice Easter. Have some cool days. See you soon. Next week is no live because I will be in Germany. Even there's like lockdown stuff going on. But I will be online in 2 weeks. In 2 weeks, I think, is the next live, yeah. And maybe I'm going to post this track in the meantime. I think I'm going to record something during the weekend because I'm alone and I have a lot of time to make music. Cool, thank you for joining, everyone. That's so cool to see you in the chat. Danke, Dieter. Thanks, Mike, Thierry, Jasper. Everyone who's in there, greetings to Augsburg, and see you soon, guys. Have a nice evening. I'm going to eat now.